Thank you, everyone. I joined the Conservative movement in a very unusual way. I didn't study politics or government at university. I'm not a lawyer. I'm an engineer. Thank you. I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in London, but I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Roxy. Lagos was a place where almost everything seemed broken. I grew up under a military dictatorship, and I would never have believed that 40 years later, I would be standing here as the leader of the world's most successful political party in the history of Western democracy. We need to change the way our immigration system works. So I'm announcing that the Conservative Party is going to do the following things differently. 1. If you want to stay in our country permanently and apply for indefinite leave to remain, the time you have increased from 5 years to 10 years. 2. You will have to be a net contributor with a high enough salary, especially if you want to bring family members with you. And if you've got a criminal record, you're banned. 3. If you've claimed benefits or need social housing, you can't even apply. 4. We will increase the time before you can apply for a British passport from 12 months to 5 years, meaning it will take a minimum of 15 years to start an application. 5. If you enter this country illegally or outstay your visa, you will be banned from ever gaining leave to remain or a passport. These changes, on top of a strict numerical cap on numbers, will constitute the most robust changes ever made to our immigration system. Lower numbers, secure borders, and an immigration system that finally works for the British people.
Let me start by saying that if more of us were involved with politics in our countries, our countries would be in a lot better state today. I have never seen the number of people interested in analyzing a speech. KEMI Badenoch has literally broken the polls, and I think she carefully delivered that speech herself to bring all of this kind of uproar from her community. I'm going to dissect things today, and guys, I might not really be popular with my ideas, so if you're not ready to hear the truth, I'm not just going to say what every migrant YouTube channel has said, pointing the finger at KEMI. I'll just inform you guys exactly what is important to note if you're living abroad, and the things that we're clearly deciding to be biased, and I'll say hypocrisy at its peak. If you want to hear my opinion, sit down, relax. Why not? A topic after my heart. Before we get all emotional and worked up, let's start from the very beginning, okay? Some of you might never have heard about KEMI before. Of course, if you don't care for politics, why would you bother till it kind of affects you? And that's why politics and lawmaking should be everybody's business. Some just very quick background about KEMI. I'm not going to go into so much detail. I'll really stick to what is relevant to her position as the leader of the Conservative Party. She won in an election in November of this year and took over as the first black woman to lead a major political organization, and not just a major, they are the main opposition to Labour. When the general elections went on last year, Labour won with the biggest numbers in the House of Assembly, and the next, I think, in 150 seats was the Conservative Party. Just so you know, before Labour won, it was the Conservative Party, the times of Liz Truss, the times of Richie, when it was like a set of revolving doors with different prime ministers every day we woke up from sleep. I love politics, so I can give you guys this background. She won because for you guys to be very surprised about her speech, maybe it's best so that you know exactly what the Conservative Party stands for. I'm rushing because this video is not going to be long. I'm going to hit it on the head for you guys who've been saying, what is my take? Right, what's my take? First, KEMI is a British-born lady, I'll say she's Nigerian British born. Now she is British. I understand that Nigeria could give you a chance to have dual nationality, but it depends on if you choose to take it up or not. Okay, not all countries, by the way, would accept dual nationalities. A lot of African countries don't. You have to choose one. Let's regress. Let's go back. In 1980, KEMI was born on the, I think, 2nd of Jan. We all know that a year later, there was a rule which abolished the freedom of people born in the UK who were not British parents or who did not have right to stay here. Similar to what is happening in the US now, where Trump is trying to, pass this decree where if you're born in the US, you will not automatically get citizenship. KEMI missed this. And that's the only crime in this whole case, because if she didn't, we would not be here today, right? Her story would have been different. So maybe let's start with what happened before she became automatically British, because after that her parents went back. Her mom was a doctor, a GP in the US, and in Nigeria she went most of her formative years, and this is really important, formative years between birth and 15. So she was a full-fledged Nigerian woman. She spent long enough time to understand the values and be associated or feel that she belongs to where she comes from, or be, yes. So if she's not, then we need to ask ourselves why. Or is she and just playing the devil's advocate and being a politician? Let's find out. Anyway, so she came back, and KEMI did not study politics at university, did not go to law school. KEMI is an IT professional. She's an IT engineer. She worked in some of the big names, I think Coates at some point, but before that she was in the software industry and making things work. So she's not the typical, but she says that the UK killed her dreams. From an A-star student in Nigeria, she's giving you us credit, or you guys credit, and she came here and her dream of being a doctor like her parents got crushed so quickly. But that kind of begs the question is, when KEMI's mom came in 1980 as a doctor, were there no hospitals in Nigeria where she could have her? Why did she come here? It was a private hospital, so she pumped into the economy. She paid her dues, rightly so. For whatever reason, it's left for KEMI and her parents to understand. But let's not get distracted. And she fell into conservative views. If you don't know about the Conservative Party, what they really stand for is like the liberals, but she stands like on the left side of conservatism. Or she's more like a left-winger and doesn't have such right views. What they really stand for is they favor economic liberalism, and they're very protectionist as well. So they protect the integrity of the beliefs and the state. But there are other things that KEMI stands for that has not been shared. For example, her ideas on wokeism. She's very anti-woke. She sticks to her ideas of being either a man or a woman. That is not making the headlines. What is making the headlines now are the 5 rules that KEMI has promised her party will deliver if they get votes. Now, without being emotional about my ideas on this, one of the major things that we all, especially in our community, I'm talking about the African community, we've taken this and ran with it, but we are not talking about what the Labour Party is doing now. Do you know that almost 19,000 illegal or failed asylum seekers are being removed from the UK currently? Nobody's talking about that. Everybody is only focusing on what would happen 4 years or how many years from now if the Conservative Party win. This is politics. She's saying these rules to attract voters. I personally don't think KEMI has, she's been labelled all sorts. I don't know her, but I think that she's delivering what people want to hear. Even the Labour Party, they are trying to move to what the Reform Party is big on, which is tightening immigration rules. Brits are fed up. The economy is stagnating. We are almost getting to a recession. Life is hard. Available jobs low. People feel like all the people who are making money are leaving, millionaires, and the net numbers keep increasing with low-skilled immigrant workers coming to help. And I don't see anything wrong with this. But the Brits have a problem with it. So this sort of immigration rules will attract a lot of new people to the Conservative Party, and she wants to win next elections. Let me say something. You people are not going to like this. A lot of us Africans are hypocrites by nature. Yes, let me tell you, most of us, when we come here, we have greener pastures. We pretend. We don't like to see our sisters or brothers progress. We are very, very non-united, but very, very divided. Really, we might pretend and meet in parties and hug. Do we really care for each other? No, we don't. Let me tell you, once I got a job in a very, very white industry, and there was just this one black colored girl, and with time, after like a few months, we became friends, and she said, let me confess, you're such a nice person. I said, why? She said when she initially saw me, the day I walked in and they said it was a new starter, and she saw it was a black girl, she's like, oh my God, why? I was enjoying this job and I didn't want any of our people to come. Soon they'll come swanning in like they've called them, because wherever they hear the success, they want to follow. And she said, she laughed, but I could never forget the impression that gave me. And that's how we are. I received a comment on one of my last videos where I'll see if I can find that comment somewhere and maybe pin it. What this lady said to me was, oh, can you stop complaining about the UK? You know, even we Brits, we are struggling to get jobs. And she said, my parents came from Bermuda, and I said, oh, you mean you are also an immigrant? No, I was born here. And I was just laughing. We don't even love ourselves. The only thing that I love about KEMI is that at least she is honest enough to look at people in the face and say how she feels. I prefer somebody who is not two-faced, who will look at you and tell you that I don't want you lot here because of this. And please, KEMI was not addressing just Africans. Do your research. I did a little bit of that, and I always like to do. The number of people on benefit. What are the 5 main things? The first thing KEMI said, just to summarize, a lot of people don't understand what these 5 immigration rules were. The first is, at the moment, to qualify for the indefinite leave to remain is 5 years. So you must have lived in the country for 5 years for you to even think of applying for this. Now it's moved to 10 years, okay? That is neither here nor there, because people will sacrifice 30 years to have it, so it would not really change the numbers. I don't feel like KEMI's policies mean anything. If you really understand policies, you're not just dumb, you'll dig deeper and realize that her policies is like a smoke, like a screen. There is nothing new. If you're moving in from 5 to 10 years, yes, it'll frustrate people more. But what is 10 years for people who come from destitute? They'll wait. In that time, don't forget they have a valid visa, so they can still travel to wherever. Only difference is that she's delaying the time because she feels like you need to have contributed and integrated into the society as much as possible. So that would not really negate the numbers. And it's funny that KEMI said that she's more a systems person and likes to understand how things work. Please tell us how this works. Second is, you can not apply for this as well, just on this same point, sorry, if you have a criminal record. Out of the question. Fair enough. Fair enough. But to completely say you cannot, that's quite harsh, and it feels like a system that doesn't forgive bad behavior. It's like once you commit a crime, there is no repentance. Now, the other thing is you must have a positive contribution to the economy, so you must earn a certain threshold. Years ago, I think maybe 15 or 10 years ago, it used to be the minimum wage. My phone was ringing. Years ago, the minimum wage to be able to bring your dependents and apply for an indefinite leave was about 18,000. It moved to 29, and I think if the Conservatives take over, it'll be 36,000 a year. That is, maybe in a few years that might match up to the minimum wage, but that a lot of people don't earn that. But that's what she's saying, that you must be a net contributor positively to the economy. And those of you talking, I'll come to this point. We Africans, do you think that we come here to play? Let me go to the next point. You are banned if you've received benefits or housing. This is where I have a problem, because it's so generic. It feels like KEMI believes she's talking to people who have no brains, okay? What sort of benefits? There are universal credits which people get when they contribute to the economy, and maybe there is a shortfall because of the family sizes, but they are still working, they are still contributing. Their benefits is such a broad term to use. And social housing doesn't mean that you don't pay, it just means your priority on the list. Why offer the benefits? Why offer the social housing if it's going to be used against you? Again, it's very, very silly. And to be honest, most of us watching this, and the Africans who are thinking that KEMI has been the biggest betrayer since the person in the Bible who betrayed Jesus, Judas. Because we don't actually come to seek for benefits. We don't. Africans don't travel. We are very, very hardworking people. We don't even like to receive benefits. We come, we work hard, and we integrate. And that's why KEMI is where she is today. And I think she knows that. She's not targeting her people. They are Eastern Europeans. There are people, there are a lot of North Africans. Without me going into details and causing a war of where we come from, there are other demographics, and I can look at the numbers in a minute and tell you guys that actually do this more. What is the fourth thing that KEMI said? She said that at the moment, after staying here for 10 years, you can apply for your British citizenship. It takes about 11 to 12 months or a year, so it could take you 11 years for you to have a British passport in your hand. But what she's proposing is that you can start after 10 years, but it will take at least 5 years. So the total is 15 years for you to have it. The problem I have with all these delays is, if you know how expensive it is to contact the Home Office when you need to renew your visa. I haven't done it in years, thank God, but I'm not informed that a lot of my family and friends still apply for visas, and it's very expensive. It feels like it's a cash cow system where, because people want to stay here, they keep applying, and the money they spend, you think about it, that is it worth it if you keep applying every 2 years? That doesn't make sense. And when people feel like they're at home, they can actually open businesses, they feel like they are wanted, they are even much more productive in the countries. So the last point, which is, I feel it's a bit harsh. She said if you've come into the UK illegally, you're completely banned. Oof, this one is tough. So she means people who have come from the borders, maybe come by boats, and this would include a lot of asylum seekers. This for me is quite inhuman, because the people who live and flee war countries, places that they are being persecuted for different political reasons, to come here, they walk to the channels, they come. Yes, there's a mixture of people who just want to come and do nothing, but a lot of these people who come here, what I'll say, or what I would have proposed is, if you want to clamp hard on them, maybe you just say you have a longer time to prove that you can stay here and work if they are given a chance to integrate into the system. But this just feels very dismissive. Bam, you're banned, so you're sent back. Honestly, it's crazy. Let's talk about the number of people who actually access benefits in this country. I know that this is just so you guys know that a lot of these rules is not pointing at her brothers and sisters in Nigeria or her African in-laws. No. KEMI doesn't associate herself, whether we like it or not, as a Nigerian. She is a full Brit who is member of the parliament and the head of the Conservative Party, and is married to a Caucasian. I think he's German, Badenoch. His name sounds Jewish to me. I don't know. I've not done investigation enough. And I don't want to go into her personal life. I want to talk about what she is proposing. And just to note, KEMI has held many roles. She was once the Equality and I think Women's Minister. She's had a few. She's been in politics for years. Yes, so let's talk about the number. The number of migrants receiving universal credit. White British families are the most likely to receive state support, such as a state pension. Families from the Chinese ethnic group are least likely to receive the state support. Now, the next is income-related benefits. So, if you work and your income is not enough, Black and Bangladeshi families are the most likely to receive income-related benefits, such as help with the cost of housing. In 2019, 29% of Black families received income-related benefits compared to 17% of white families. Make a decision however you want it. Just giving you guys the facts. I like to do that. And universal credit. In April of 2024, 77% of people claiming universal credit were from the white ethnic group. 77. from universal credit. You guys are backing up the wrong tree, honestly. KEMI, go back, take your time, and come back. The Asian British ethnic group was the second largest with 9.5% of claimants. So we're talking almost, leaving only 5%, which is the Black, Caribbean, and African Black British ethnicity, for 5.8% of universal credit. And universal credit doesn't mean that you're not working. It's a top up. Most people receive that, or if you have kids. And then other benefits are things like age benefits from the BME community. So before we all get irate and get stressed, I feel like KEMI is a messenger. Maybe if it was me, if I'm not a politician, I would find it very, very awkward as somebody who has proudly said that she grew up in Lagos in very harsh conditions, she claims, and one time struggled to survive because the parents moved from all having savings, making money, to losing a lot. That's possible anywhere in the world, and she was honest to say that. So we need to take our emotions off and stop calling all of KEMI's 7 names to try to tie her back to Nigeria. You only want to be tied back if you want to. Clearly, KEMI has moved on, and she has little or no affiliation. She said it in many informal interviews, and actually identifies herself more as a Yoruba than a Nigerian. And each to theirs. She is there to deliver a message, and she's done it. People send this to me, and I said, if I want to say how I feel, a lot of you are not going to like it, but forgetting about who KEMI is, Mrs. Badenoch, I'll call her that way. Forget KEMI, because if she did not have that name, if she had a name like Laura, nobody would think about the fact that she was originally from Africa or from Nigeria. But there's a lot of emphasis because we feel because she's one of us, she needs to come into government and bring her people in. And that's why our countries are the way it is, corrupt. That's why we love, there's nepotism. That's why when you come from a particular place, people associate themselves and want to show favoritism. That's why we cannot succeed as like a continent, because we're so biased, because we want to only side certain people even if they're doing the wrong thing. So this is a good example, really, of what our leaders should follow, to be fair, even if you feel like you have worn those shoes before. This is not going to go well with a lot of people, but personally, I don't find her policies really making much sense. They're just strict, stringent, and it's a way to gain sympathy votes, especially from the Reform Party. That's exactly what Labour is doing. So if you love your African brothers, tell them about the dangers in crossing, because they will be sent back. People coming from boats are sent back. The numbers, they're having chartered flights. Look on the internet, it's everywhere. The Labour Party is currently doing that, and they are tidying the mess that the Conservatives left before they lost power last year. So all of what this woman is doing, she's fixing what Liz Truss, Richie, and all Bojo, what they all did over the past few months when it felt like the UK was a joke. So anyway, I have spoken enough about this. I was working, so I'll go back to minding my business, sipping my tea, and having a day at the office. Thanks if you found this video helpful. I try to give you guys more facts than fiction. I don't want emotions, because politics and emotions don't go hand in hand. Anyway, I believe that you guys are reasonable, my viewers. And if this is the first time that you've seen one of my videos, hello, my name is Lulu, and this is Lulu Diaries, where I discuss a lot of things that I'll tell my younger self. I have conversations random like this when you guys send them to me, and I try to be as honest as possible. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you guys in my next video. If you like this video, give us a like and leave your comment. What do you think about KEMI's policies? Do you think that I'm being unfair, or do you think that this is a fair approach to take? No sentiments. KEMI is just a messenger. KEMI might be saying this and thinking, oh, what have I done? My brothers cannot come now. It is politics. Once you wear those shoes, you'll know how to pinch. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.